Hey guys, and welcome to a Star Citizen Ship Buyer's Guide for the Argo Astronautics MPUV, otherwise known as the Argo. The ship is on sale and it comes with lifetime insurance until the 5th of September. It comes in two flavours currently, with an extra one that's going to be released in the future too. Those flavours are the Cargo Argo for $35 or the Passenger Argo for $40. It also will have a search and rescue variant, but we'll talk more about that in a second. You can grab a 2-pack with both of those Argos in, the Cargo and the Passenger Argo, for $70 for the pair. The ship is flyable now in 2.5, which is great. It's the first time we've seen a ship that's gone on to a concept-esque sale, because it's gone on sale, and also with lifetime insurance until the 5th, but also is flyable. That's cray-cray. It's a kind of utility and service vessel, and it is the shortest ship, I believe, in the game, at 9.25 meters short or long, and it's a very, very small port. It's a size 2 port in your hangar, and I suppose the next shortest would have been the M50 at 11 meters, so it's pretty damn small. It doesn't have any weapon hardpoints, and again we'll talk more about that in a second, and it doesn't have any variants either. It does, however, have one central swappable module that is its main influence over its role, so the cargo, passenger, or rescue and recovery module. Changing that basically changes its entire role, effectively. So what is it exactly? I'm just going to condense down the lore blurb and paraphrase it somewhat, so we can get a general gist of exactly what the Argo is. The MPUV platform, generally called the Argo, after the company that designs and produces the ship, consists of a universal cab attached to a variety of role-specific modules, used for search and rescue, to personal transport, to munitions loading. The Argo Astronautics MPUV-1C, commonly called the Argo Cargo, is a dedicated merchant transfer ship. Vast numbers of these Argos are responsible for loading and unloading goods onto massive haulers and off massive haulers and miners that could not otherwise land on planets or dry docks, such as the Hull D and Orion. Some captains choose to operate their own Argo, while others basically privately pay others for their services for the unloading process. The second variant of the Argo Astronautics is the MPUV-1P, commonly called the Argo Personnel. This version of the Argo is geared towards a simple but incredibly important responsibility: moving grounds of people from place to place. The Personnel Argo is extensively used by the UEE Navy for a variety of different tasks, but also in civilian hands it can be used for a taxi to a makeshift combat dropship. The Argo is capable of carrying up to 8 humans, or in the future possibly Xi'an and other aliens, and their equipment. A third Argo variant is in development, the 1S, which will replace the utility pod with a dedicated search and rescue area, featuring medical equipment and that sort of stuff. This is more going to be used for rescuing pilots and ejected pilots and that sort of stuff, but we'll find out more about that in the future. Let's talk about the Argo's intended roles. So the Argo MPUV is intended as a service craft for large ships. The Argo suits a specialist purpose, giving an extra ability to a ship that could not otherwise do something. Now this could be easily moving crew around, it could be moving crew or personnel down to a planet, cargo down to a planet, landing on a station or a planet, docking with another ship, the ability to be a drop ship, that sort of thing. I expect Orions, for example, to get quite a lot of use out of them. They'd go near a planet or a station where the Orion would be unable to dock, and they want to sell their goods. Now they have a few options. They can get Argos to come up from the planet's surface or from the station to unload that cargo and sell it at a cost, or the captain could use his own Argo if he had one. Basically, that cargo module makes the Argo an extremely short-range hauler. The passenger module variant allows players to dock with other stations or planets that they might not otherwise be able to, allowing crew to get off and move around quickly. You're going to be able to use it to move crew up and down a larger ship like an Idris very quickly. It's more of a shuttle. And the search and rescue module, when it comes out, is going to be extremely useful for carriers recovering ejected or injured pilots, but also as short-range ambulances. I would expect Endeavour hospital ships to occasionally have a few of these in their hangars if they're called into plague or war zones. Its lack of a Q drive and lack of weapons are its biggest restrictions, and kind of forces it to be that slave of a larger ship. As smaller ships, like the Connie, don't require them, it's only those larger ships that require an Argo surface. You, however, are completely undefended. You have no weapon hardpoints, so you're going to have to rely on friends covering you or to be clear of hostiles in an area. I suppose some players, though, would open the back door and chuck grenades or fire out of it. I suppose you get the passengers to all fire out of the Argo passenger if you're being followed by a dragonfly or something, maybe? I don't know. We're going to see some silly combat, I'm sure, in the future. Though I expect we'll still see people use these as makeshift drop ships, triage centres, and maybe even decoys in certain situations. So, some other points of note: it is extremely small. The Merlin is 12 metres long, and the Argo is only 9.25 metres. I believe the M50 is 11 metres long. So the Argo is the shortest ship I'm aware of at the moment. You're going to be able to swap that main module around really easily and quickly, and purchase the modules separately in the future as well. So it's basically the main cab. That's the Argo, and those modules just are quite easily switchable. They have previously talked about a mechanical repair arm for the Argo on all models, but we'll have to wait and see if that's still a thing or if that's part of an old evolution. I suspect we shall find out a little bit more in the FAQs, more about that in a minute. I do expect to see Argo racing, especially in the Grim Hex Slalom in the future. I suspect that will become a big thing because people are crazy. As an LTI token as well, the ship's quite useful. So if you buy before September 5th, the ship has LTI, meaning that if you upgrade that Argo at any point that has LTI, the ship that you upgrade it to will also have that lifetime insurance. So people will use these as cheap lifetime insurance tokens. Value-wise, the Argo for me is a cool-looking ship, but the Idris, the Javelin capital ships, they already come with the Argos, and that's what the ship was originally intended for those large capital ships. I struggle to think of a good reason to justify purchasing one, other than for an LTI token. That said, for a collector, a capital ship getting an extra one, maybe for an Endeavour or another large ship, it's not a bad idea either. It suggests in the design document that Orions and Hull Ds can also make use of them, but I would expect other than them are that Hull E's, Endeavours, Reclaimers, maybe even 890 Jumps, Caterpillars, and Banu Merchantmen in some situations may be able to make use of the Argo. But we, as I said, we'll have to wait and see. I also expect the Argos to be extremely obtainable in verse. So, as with all ships, you don't need to buy them. You only need a game package, and then you can get all these ships in-game with in-game credits. But the Argo especially, I think, similar to the Dragonfly, it's going to be very easily obtainable. And yeah, as I said, for me, I struggle for a reason to buy one. Alternative ships, it doesn't really compare with any other ships. It's a super small snub utility worker ship, and it's quickly modifiable to change its role from search and rescue, cargo, and passenger hauling. Doesn't really have any comparable ships, other than maybe the X-85 shuttle when we find out more about that. But we'll have to wait and see. FAQs-wise, we shall have another look at the Argo once the FAQs are out. If they add anything that we haven't already talked about, or correct anything that we have already, if we've got anything wrong. But that's it, kind of, for the Argo, for the sale for it anyway. I hope that was informative. Please check the link in the description for a post about the Argo and all its vital statistics. Remember, commenting on any of our videos until the end of September gives you a chance to win a PC or an Argo. Please remember to like and subscribe, as it really does help me. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the verse.